This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store. Always delighted to be joined with Fabio Wardley. It's a nice Friday afternoon here. Joyce Chisora have just weighed in. Aside from all that, you've all been good?
Yeah, all going well, thank you, mate. All going well. All been all right.
Good to hear, good to hear. Obviously, we'll start on the reason we are here. Joyce and Chisora have both weighed in ahead of tomorrow night. Big night at the O2. I mean, you had a big heavyweight night at the O2 a couple of months ago, so both the big boys follow suit after that. So, looking forward to tomorrow night?
Yeah, look, the O2 is a special venue. Chisora's been saying in the build-up that he has a lot of love, a lot of affection for the O2. He's fought there a number of times, had a number of massive nights there. So, yeah, I think Saturday's going to be another one of those crackers.
What do you make of this fight? Because I think when you look at it, I think the common opinion is, both fighters, they both have miles on their clock, and we may not be getting the best versions of either fighter at this point in their career. So, would you sort of more look at it in that way?
Yeah, sometimes, or sometimes it's the right time. Sometimes it's like if you look at it from a different perspective, it's the do or die for Joyce in terms of coming off of 2 losses with the Zhang stuff and all of that, and for Chisora, him knowing or at least saying, look, I've only got a few left in the tank, so he's going to go all out in these ones. So maybe we have caught them both at the right time. We won't know until that first bell rings on Saturday night.
Is it a fair argument for people to say that it's dangerous for Chisora to keep fighting?
No, I wouldn't say that, to be honest. Look, he's been in some scraps, but he's not been like absolutely starked many times. If I can only remember a couple, I think, if that. So yeah, look, he's taken a lot of punishment and whatever else, but he's still there. He's still got all his motor skills. He can still talk with the best of them, and he's still got the gift of the gab. So I think he's still all there.
One thing I have to ask you, when you look back on the Frazer Clarke fight and you headlined the O2, Chisora talks about how many great nights he had at the O2, and I'm sure Joyce had great nights not just at the O2 but just in arenas in general. When you look at it and you've now experienced that, being that main event slot, how much do you feel like you can relate to sometimes what Derek says and how much you feed off the crowd?
Yeah, massively. I can relate to it, especially coming from like my fight and how that went and how inclusive the crowd was in that fight. They were so loud. You could hear them all the way through the fight, and they give you an extra gear, and especially someone like Chisora as well. For him, I think you've always seen that with him. You've always known that he almost maybe not needs the crowd, but it does so much for him and his performance in the ring that it adds so much more in.
Well, I suppose it's only right that we do move on from that. I think after 31st of March, whenever you've been about and you've done interviews, the question has been, what is the future for yourself? Is it the Frazer Clarke rematch? And I'm sure Frazer's been the same. Everyone's been banging on the door for the rematch. Obviously, nothing sort of concluded in the pipeline. Obviously, there's been a few hearings, a few rumours. I suppose, what can you say from the latest? Is that ideally that's what you want to pursue, that rematch?
It's one of options, yeah. Yeah, look, we're looking at a variety of options, and that being one of them. I'm positioned really well with all the governing bodies. I think I'm top 10 with at least four of them, or however many. But I'm in a great position. So as and when, like we know, it's going to happen at the end of the year with the rematch of Usyk and Fury, when things do fragment and then belts go in different places, I want to be in prime position to kind of pick up a world title. So we look at options of putting me in the right place to do that as well. So it's not just about Frazer, but it's a great fight, a great option to have. But like I said, not the only one.
I've done an interview with Frazer about sort of 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he said, when it's all said and done, if we don't do that rematch, I won't be able to sit there and be content with myself. No, and I didn't run it back with Fabio. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. I think no one's ever happy as competitors. No one's ever happy with a draw. So whether we do it now, whether we do it later, who knows? But yeah, look, I think at some point we'd run it back. It might even be in a few years or whatever. We might go down different paths and bring it back around, and it might be us fighting for a world title against each other or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, probably one day or another it will come back around.
Regardless, is it nice to be in a position where that isn't actually like the main option? Like you've got a lot of other things that you can pursue.
Yeah, of course. Like especially with me, someone like myself who's promotionally independent, I can pick and choose what I want to do. No one tells me. No one says I have to do anything. My career's in my hands. It's my control. So I'll decide between me and the team, we'll decide what we think's best for us, and we'll go from there with it.
I did want to stick on the topic of, I guess, of guys in and around the domestic scene at heavyweight. On Boxing Social, actually, Sol Dacres and your former opponent, David Adeleye, had a little bit of a face-off. David had a lot to say, as always, was sort of slapping the belt on Dacres' right arm. I don't know if you got to saw it, or what did you make of the back and forth?
I saw a little. I think I saw a Queensbury clip of them talking or ringside or something after the fight. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fluff at the moment because the fight's not happening. It was supposed to happen, didn't happen. Supposed to happen, didn't happen. For whatever reasons, I honestly haven't followed it too much. I don't really know what's going on. But I think it's a fight they both need. They need each other, to be honest, to either kick on or the other one drops off, really, because both of them are in that kind of middle ground. When you speak of British title fights or the next in lines and those, and neither of those two are ever in the conversation. You've even got like Moses ahead of them saying in line for a British title, so they need to get at it, put themselves in big fights, test themselves against good opponents and get themselves in the mix.
You mentioned Moses there, like you taking him, would you say, as a potential next opponent in the near on sort of future? I see you on broadcast today together, like taking him seriously as a potential sort of as a competition for yourself.
Yeah, as an opponent for me, it's a bit of a complicated situation. We're in the same gym.
Oh fucking hell, mate! Sorry, I didn't even think about that.
We've got the same trainer, so
mate. Sorry, honestly, that didn't even cross my mind. That's poor from me. Like, you know, mate, I'm so sorry about that. So.
No, but look, a lot of people are saying it as well, and a lot of people are kind of missing that point that we have the same trainer, so it's a bit of a funny one. But look, I have no doubt in my mind that he'll be challenging for a British title in the near future. I doubt I'll be the one to hold it. I think at that point I would have moved on with my career. So yeah, look, there's no doubt that Moses is going to be a force and he's going to be charging his way through the division. Whether we cross horns seems highly unlikely.
So would you say in that environment where you've obviously got, not only is it sort of yourself and Moses, obviously got AJ there as well, when you're all three domestic heavyweights who have their own goals, would you say there's no real like conflicts of interest there?
No, like I was and is still managed by Dylan White, like, and who was a heavyweight who's managed me throughout his whole career or is still managing me now to this day, and there was never any conflict there either. So look, there's plenty of options and avenues for all of us. We're all in different places at the moment. I'm British, looking to go at world level. AJ's clearly at world level. Moses is now kicking on into kind of British level after Saturday night. So look, we're all in different places and we're all moving in different directions. So no, it doesn't necessarily mean we are going to cross.
Last topic from myself, I do have to ask you about, obviously we just mentioned Anthony Joshua there taking on Daniel Dubois. Yeah, what was you looking at this fight on a massive fight on the 21st of September? Yeah,
look, fantastic fight. It's great to see two British fighters fighting for a world title and on UK soil as well, in the UK, at Wembley Stadium, fantastic arena. So it'll be a great night for boxing. It would be nice to bring one of those big fights back home again, bring them to the UK crowd, because we know how they get behind fighters and how loud they are and how much of an occasion they make it.
Absolutely. As always, Fabio, a pleasure speaking to you. Appreciate it, and always good to see you, man. Yeah, all the best, mate. Top man. Thank you.